we're just gonna talk candidly right now. And I realize I have not answered this question in the last 3 months, and you've watched me move to Hong Kong. Why we've moved to Hong Kong. One of the questions that pushed me to move to Hong Kong is there something that's interfering with my happiness, preventing me from achieving my goal? At the time, most definitely. I think if you guys have been watching my journey, you've seen that I've been struggling. I have not been holding back on my first year of motherhood. What really led me to this choice was really strengthening my mental health, which actually is a perfect segue to today's sponsor, BetterHelp. I'm so grateful that BetterHelp is sponsoring today's video. If you're not aware of what BetterHelp is, they are an online therapy network where you can have access to 20,000 plus licensed therapists. So I found my therapist through BetterHelp 3 years ago, and one of my favorite things about BetterHelp, actually there's two, you can have access to your therapist within the first 48 hours, start communicating with them. There's video chat, texting, which I love. Within 24 hours, my therapist always responds back to my needs, and it really feels like someone is there for me in my corner. There is no awkward transition if for whatever reason, which is very common if you don't mesh with the first therapist that you're matched with, or the second or the third or fourth, fifth, whatever it is. Because BetterHelp makes it so easy because it's online, so if you feel like you don't mesh with a therapist, then you can cancel and find someone new. Finding the right therapist is very, very important. Sometimes having the in-person interaction and having that awkward like goodbye does make, you know, breaking up relationships kind of difficult. This online relationship with your therapist for me works really well because I feel like that transition is a lot smoother for me to find someone that matches really well for my needs. BetterHelp is not a crisis line. It is not self-help. It is professional therapy done securely online. And the greatest thing is that this service is available worldwide. So though I have my therapist I've had a relationship with since 3 years ago, I can still have the same relationship with her in Hong Kong. If financial reasons are keeping you from joining BetterHelp, they actually have financial aid. It's a lot more affordable than traditional therapy. And BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. If there's anything that's hindering you from your happiness, if there's anything that's holding you back from achieving your goals, I highly recommend you right now to click the link below in the description box, and you can use my link for 10% off at www.betterhelp.com/IAMKARENO. Again, that's www.betterhelp.com/Kareno for 10% off. And join over 1 million other people taking charge of their mental health and talking to online therapists today. Okay, so the question we've been avoiding, why we moved to Hong Kong. And I think it's perfect to let Leo start answering this question because it was literally his idea. I was actually opposed to it, like very hardly opposed to moving. I loved the house that we built there.
And interior decorating it,
yeah,
and buying your new rug, getting the furniture, all these little spaces. Like, I know you love that house.
I still love it.
And you still love it tremendously.
Yes.
So moving wasn't an easy decision?
It wasn't my first choice at all. I really wanted to just like make it work and stay in the OC. But Leo's gonna explain why he suggested this.
I think what changed for me was having Dove. Well, we got together in college and we were really spontaneous back then. You know, we can just make plans on the fly and kind of figure it out as it goes. But when you become parents, you need to have a little bit more of considered energy. You need to really move as a unit and not maybe just as two individuals. And so as we were thinking about ourselves as a family, think about things like safety, finances. Are we making the right choice for Dove as well? And so, you know, with the pandemic going on, there is actually still a lot of anti-Asian sentiment out there. And I personally didn't feel comfortable with you and Dove going out alone, walking in the stroller, and God forbid that something were to happen to you guys because a crazy guy out there were to attack you guys or do something related to anti-Asian violence because of the pandemic. And that's not something that I wanted to have on my head, to have on my heart. And I knew that coming to Hong Kong, we would be surrounded by so much family, so much understanding. Hong Kong actually has 0 local cases of COVID. All the cases are actually imported from different countries. It's very safe here. Everyone wears masks. There's so much pandemic protocol here that we can lead a safe and healthy life as a family.
I feel emotional when you said, I think I forgot how afraid I was when we lived in the States, when the Asian hate was going around.
I mean, it still is.
And I remember like I wanted to go to the mall with Dove.
Right, I remember this instance, yeah.
I wanted to have like a date alone with Dove and Leo, and this was after the shooting and the deaths at the salon in Florida, so it was very fresh. And Leo was like, I was very trapped. I felt very trapped at home, you know. Every day was the same, and I needed something new as a new parent. So I wanted to just like live a little and go to the freaking mall.
I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same, just being locked up so long.
And I remember Leo telling me like, I don't think you should go because I'm just worried about Asian hate. And at the moment, I was like feeling very defiant about it.
Absolutely, I remember we kind of got into a fight about it. You felt like I was keeping you in.
I was like, stop controlling me, you know, let me do what I want. But like, honestly, in the back of my mind, I knew that you were just worried about our safety. And that really made me feel like I was so trapped, like even more trapped than I already felt with the pandemic, and like I couldn't leave the house. And now I can't even leave the house, not because of like a virus, but now because of like the way I look, and I can't even change that to protect myself. With the virus, I can just wear a mask and know that if I get a vaccine, my protection is higher.
There's a lot of stuff that we can do.
Yeah, we could do it. It was within our
pandemic,
control. But
if someone just hates you and wants to hurt you out in public, there's very little that we can do besides to arm ourselves as well. I remember we had pepper spray.
Yeah, your parents bought us pepper spray and like taught us how to use it. And at first, my past self, before the brutality against Asians in America, I would be like, oh, this is too much, you know. We're overkill. It's overkill. It's too ridiculous. Serious. Not a day passed where I don't like guns. Like honestly, I prefer not to have a gun, but we've considered it so often.
I mean, that is also another reason why we moved, because we were actually firsthand exposed to gun violence multiple times. I mean, I'm sure you guys heard this story before. We've told it before on this channel, but we've had to like, lay down on the ground because there was an active shooting less than 50 feet away from our old apartment. And for me to yell to you, hey, Karen, get down on the ground, that was literally, I never wanted. No one wants that moment at home where you're supposed to feel the safest.
Yeah. So we moved from that house, but
then we moved to the OC, where we still encountered gun violence. Out on the freeway, there was a guy that was crazy. He boarded himself up in a hotel room, and the SWAT team was out literally right next to our car.
Yeah, and Dove was like there, and I was like, this is crazy.
I was worried about a ricochet bullet, a stray bullet hitting our car, which is not uncommon in the United States, right? To have a victim that wasn't the intended target, but still lost their life because of just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah. And I absolutely hated the idea of that.
Yeah, actually, I really did almost forget. Like, that was the main reason we wanted to come to Hong Kong. Is because safety. Safety. Like, how can you live in a place and not feel safe? Like, as much as I loved my house, I hated the fact that I was kind of trapped in there because I didn't really, you just never know. You just, who would have thought that?
Who would think that our elders in Chinatown would be targeted with like getting sucker punched? Like who would have, I grew up going to Oakland Chinatown and walking those streets and seeing footage of our elders being hit. It hit me close to home. It was just like, maybe home really isn't home anymore.
I know, it just made me so sad because like that could have been my grandma.
Exactly.
And the shittiest part of this all is that there was nothing I could have done.
Right.
I can't change my situation. At least with the pandemic, with COVID, I could do something about it.
You can wear a mask, you can sanitize,
you can like not go outside, you don't leave the house, like you can just limit your interaction with other people. But this, you can't, I couldn't live in fear like that. And I think that's why you suggested that.
There's a major reason why.
Yeah.
And so we can actually live here in Hong Kong. There's actually extensive pandemic protocols. There's sanitation stations, contact tracing. So if you're exposed, you know when to get tested. And it's an amazing place to be, quite honestly. There's 0 local cases of COVID, and we're free to roam and live our lives normally pre-pandemic.
And a lot of people, they're baffled why I would move back to Hong Kong, because a lot of people are leaving Hong Kong.
And a lot of people, I think, idolize the United States. When you're abroad, you kind of think of the US and the American dream. And
I mean, honestly, I still miss the OC. Me too. Love the beaches. The weather is so good.
Our neighbors are so kind, so amazing.
I love my neighbors. Our neighborhood is just so wonderful. And a lot of people in Hong Kong always ask like, why are you back here? Because everyone else is leaving. But like our reasons, you can't really understand unless you're in our shoes and you've
gone on the ground, because there's an active shooter less than 50 feet away. Like this is our lives, this is our safety that we're taking into consideration.
And now that Dove is here, like it's not just the two of us anymore. I worry about her too and her safety, and I'm just like, I can't live in a world where I'm afraid to take my daughter outside and we don't know what's gonna happen to us. The second one is actually another mental health thing. Like these are all mental health related things that really was keeping us from having the happiness that we deserve. Our relationship was really suffering because we were the sole caregiver for our daughter, which we absolutely love and enjoy, but holy crap, there's not a moment of break, you know?
Right. If you're a new parent yourself, I think you can understand wanting help.
Yeah, we really wanted help.
We had help from our parents. My mom and dad are really helpful when they were, but they also live their own lives.
Right.
And so we needed to have time to work and time to not just be mom and dad, but also to be husband and wife.
Right.
Which I think is very important for our relationship and also our well-being as a family as a whole. Like we can give Dove so much more if we're also fulfilled.
And you guys would say like, oh, you guys can just hire a nanny.
That's probably the third point then about moving.
which we did, if you guys remember my vlogs, but holy crap. I'm sure if you're a parent in the US.
And you hire your own nanny?
It is so incredibly expensive.
It's expensive.
Oh my goodness. When we did our bills after we hired a nanny, I mean, yes, we could afford it, but we weren't going to be saving a lot of money. It's too early to not be planning for the future. At this stage of the decision making, I was on board.
Yeah.
Because it was practical. And financially, it made a lot of sense for us to come to Hong Kong because having at-home help is a lot more affordable here. And it's a lot more common in Hong Kong than it is in
the United States.
That really just pushed us over the edge to make the decision.
And I'd say like we're so much happier now that we moved here.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And we actually get to have our own life back because we have a domestic worker here. She actually is an at-home live-in domestic worker.
It's something that's very common all throughout Asia.
And we're so grateful because we absolutely love her and she's like part of our family now.
I know she loves Dove too.
Yeah.
I catch her like kissing Dove and hugging Dove from time to time. And so it's like we have an auntie joining our family. I'm just really grateful.
Dude, it was such a hard decision though, because I remember when I was telling my therapist that you suggested this, she said she was shocked. She actually just told me this last week when I caught up with her, but she knew that this was the right decision for us because I have been sharing with her like my fear, my anxiety, and not having enough help in America, and also finances was like getting really tight with hiring a nanny in America. And she was like, she knew that this was the right choice for us. But the 21-day quarantine was, that was another thing. Okay, that was like, I was struggling really hard, but thank goodness I had a therapist too because she really walked me through that and helped me mentally get through that stage.
Maybe we can get into that, the 21-day quarantine, the whole immigration
Yeah, I think that's another video though, because there's like a whole thing, you know, on if you guys decide to move to another country like how we did, we can answer all those questions for you guys, like
Hong Kong.
Yeah, feel free to drop them in the description box right now so we can like line that up for the next video, for the next Q&A, I guess. To sum it up, the reason why we moved to Hong Kong is safety issue because of the Asian hate in America, the biggest reason. The second is
kind of refocusing back on our relationship as husband and wife and not just as mommy and daddy. Which
leads to needing help, more help at home with Dove.
And then the third is finances. We're able to actually afford a productive, secure, safe lifestyle for our family out here in Asia, so much more so than we were able to in the United States.
Yeah, and I know it sounds ridiculous, like, because Hong Kong is pretty expensive to live in, but when we calculated everything and
the health insurance
is so expensive.
Car payment, we don't have to have a car out here in Hong Kong. We take the MTR, we take the subway.
No car insurance.
Those things add up.
Yeah.
They add up over time.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions about moving to Hong Kong, about our experience in the 21-day quarantine, the immigration process, the COVID testing, anything, we're happy to share.
Oh, and how much it costs to live here. I'm sure y'all are curious too. But yeah, I just want to thank BetterHelp again for sponsoring today's video. there honestly couldn't have been a better sponsor, because this whole decision was made because we needed to better our mental health. And so BetterHelp was really there. Like, my therapist was really there for me throughout this entire process. She actually said to me before I end this video that moving to any new place takes about 6 months of adjustment. And you will feel sad or depressed. A lot of emotions could come up. It's not uncommon, but after the 6 months, if you still feel that way, then talk more about it with your therapist. But
open up to someone else. And I think there's something to be said about someone that's not in your friend group or someone that's not in your family to help you provide an alternative perspective as to what you're going through right now.
Right. And I think the greatest part is that they're professional.
Right. They're actually licensed. They're not just someone that's calling themselves a counselor.
Right.
They're qualified.
We've been a lot happier now. I've been getting those comments very often in my DMs.
Yeah. It's really encouraging to see that you guys see it too.
And that, we've definitely made the right decision.
100%.
Like 1000%. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.